Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today I'm going to do another gravity dye, but I'm going to do this one with a twist. The setup that I'm using is I have two plastic sawhorses, and in between the two plastic sawhorses, I've placed two pieces of vinyl guttering. I'm using the longer pieces of vinyl guttering that I have. Then in between the two pieces of vinyl guttering, I've placed a couple of metal racks. I have this one, and then I have one kind of down on the other end of the guttering, so I can do two shirts at once. I'm going to place the shirt face down on the metal rack, and then I'm just going to begin to twist the shirt. And as I twist the shirt, I'm going to poke the twist down inside of the hole that's on the metal rack. It took me a couple of tries to get the twists spaced out correctly where they would actually fit on the shirt and on this rack. I'm also going to twist the sleeve and poke it down in one of the holes as well. Then I want to make sure the rest of the shirt is hanging over the edge of the rack. And by the way, down below this rack, I have one of the large totes which are meant to go under the bed to catch any of the runoff. Okay, so now I'm going to apply the dye to the shirt, and I'm going to do it in stripes. I'm using blue and green, and I'm going to alternate the colors. So at the very bottom of the shirt, I'm going to do Azure Blue from Dharma Trading Company. Then I'm going to leave a space and put some Seashell Blue from Grateful Dyes. In the blank space, I'm using Moss Green from Dharma Trading Company. And then at the very top, I'm going to use Loden from Pro Chemical and Dye. I'm going to add an additional sprinkle of dry soda ash over the top of all the dye. I've already soaked the shirt in soda ash, but I'm going to add some large ice chunks to the top of the shirt, so I want to make sure that I don't accidentally rinse out all of the original soda ash that was in the shirt from the soda ash soak. The dye needs the soda ash to bond properly with the fabric. Now I'm going to add on a couple of large chunks of ice that I made. Then I'm going to add on some of the 2-inch square whiskey ice cubes that I make to fill in any of the blank spaces on the shirt. They're not cubes made with whiskey, but they're made from a mold which I think is intended to make ice cubes for whiskey. Sorry, that was a little confusing. I've added some process photos so that you can see the way the dye moved down the shirt as the ice was melting. It is fall here, but it's still probably in the 80s, at least it was the day that I did this shirt. So after the ice melts, it doesn't really have to process a full 24 hours. I think I went ahead and left it 24 anyway, but I could probably rinse it out a little bit sooner than that. So after the ice melted, the dye had gone down to the outer edges of the shirt really well. I didn't add a second layer, but I did go ahead and lay like a plastic container lid over the top of the shirt for overnight at least. I just wanted to keep any little critters from messing around on top of the shirt. Like I said, I think I left it probably about 24 hours before I started rinsing it. And I rinsed it the way I normally do. I started in cold to rinse out the soda ash. Then warmed the water up to hot and continued rinsing to rinse out any of the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. I've kind of gotten to where most of the time I don't keep rinsing until the water rinses almost clear. I just go ahead and soak the shirts. I either run some really hot water in my utility sink or in a plastic container, add a little bit of Blue Dawn dish detergent to the water and allow the shirt to soak. When the water cools off, I change it out and continue that soaking process until the water is almost clear. That saves me a lot of time and a lot of excess water from having to continue rinsing until the water rinse is almost clear. Sometimes it's also hard to tell. I will rinse in between each of the soaking processes, and it may look like the water is rinsing clear, but then when I soak it, a lot more dye comes out in the water that I've soaked it in. The Blue Dawn, because it's pH neutral, will help neutralize that water and keep any of that excess dye that's getting soaked out of the shirt from redepositing back onto the shirt. Remember, soda ash raises the pH, so the Blue Dawn dish detergent, which is pH neutral, helps lower that pH and hinder some of that rebonding process. So after the water was almost clear, I put the shirt along with some Dharma's Professional Textile Detergent into my washing machine, and I washed it using a hot water cycle. So now the shirt has been washed and dried, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so what do you think? I think this one turned out really cool. I really like all the dye movement and the way the dye just kind of streaks across the shirt. And I also really like the dimension that adding that twist in the shirt gave. It's not a design per se, but it gives just enough texture and dimension to that part of the shirt that I think it makes it look really interesting. I love the colors together as well. The azure blue that I put down in the lower portion of the shirt kind of gets a little bit lost. It looks like the moss green kind of spread out a little bit and overtook it. It overtook the seashell a little bit as well, but not quite as bad. I really like the Loden too. I think it looks really cool how it splits that yellow color. I've added quite a few different close-ups so you guys can see a little bit of the dye movement. So I think the shirt is really cool, but what do you guys think? Drop me some comments down below and let me know. And I sure would appreciate it if you guys enjoy the content of this channel, if you would like the video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.